Okay, so if you have created a clay piece that you're going to use as a planter and it has a hole in the bottom of it, we need to make a tray so that when we water the plant, that the water will drain out, and we don't want it to drain out onto the table or the windowsill where it's sitting because it will ruin that area. So we need to create a tray to help catch that water. So what you're going to need is you're going to need a piece of paper. With that piece of paper, what you are going to do is you just want the tray to be slightly larger than the base or your whatever your pot is, okay? So you can just take a pencil, doesn't matter, and maybe create a shape, a circular shape that goes around that just overhangs a little bit. We want a little space, but it doesn't need to be a lot. If you're able to find like something that's circular to trace around, you can totally do that. Like this tape roll, I'd have to look, probably isn't going to be big enough for me to trace around, but I could find something that might be a little bit bigger. I have a circular lid here. Something like this might be okay. That might be a little too big. But then maybe I look at something else. I have a different container. What if I trace the bottom of that? That might work better. And so if I kind of eyeball that, that actually looks like a pretty good size. So I am just going to trace around. And then from here, go ahead and just cut out that shape. All right, so you will need some extra clay. I have already taken my piece of clay and I use the slab roller to roll it out. What I need to make sure that is that whatever my stencil is it fits the clay piece here. One thing that you will want to do, make sure that both sides of the slab are smoothed out. You notice that this one's pretty smooth already, but this one has texture from the canvas on it. So what I would recommend doing is taking your smooth rib and smoothing that out lightly. All right, this side is already pretty smooth, so I'm just gonna smooth out a couple areas. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to trace around this. All right, so then from here, you'll make sure to want to pick it up off of that surface because we don't want it to get stuck down. And you'll probably need to smooth out some of these edges a little bit. Now, we don't just want this to be flat to go on top of. We want this to have a little bit of a ledge. So to create that ledge, what we're going to do is ball up that extra clay, and I'm gonna roll a tiny little coil, okay? So when you do this, it is best to do this with 2 hands. Oops, gotta move that. Okay, so once you have this, that it's kind of, I don't know, probably about the thickness of your pinky finger, give or take a little bit, we are going to slip and score and attach this so that it comes around. Now notice that this isn't totally wrapping around, like it's a little bit short right there. That's okay, I can just add in a little bit of a piece there. So I'm actually gonna have mine, I'm not gonna stack it right straight on top of it like this. I'm gonna actually hang it off to the side a little bit just because I want it to be more at an angle. So I'm going to score the edges. And I'm going to score the coil. Take a little slip. And notice that this color, this is just a different batch of clay, which is a little bit darker. It is all going to fire white. So if yours looks like this, it is no big deal. Okay, so then I'm going to gently kind of leave it on the edge. I'll finish that little section here later, but then what you'll want to do is you'll just going to want to make sure that this is pressed down. And that looks kind of weird right now. We kind of want it to look like a mini plate. So I'm going to take a clay tool. You can use whatever you want. And I'm going to kind of scrape it down. And then I'm going to begin smoothing it out. So this is one of those processes that it looks probably worse before it gets better. But as you can see, it is starting to create a little ledge, and you'll smooth it out all the way around the outside, and then that will be the plate that we'll be able to put this on here. You just got to make sure that when this is done, that your piece of clay will sit on top of the tray that you create. So right now I have this all smooth together. This clay is still pretty wet, so I'm actually gonna let it dry a little bit, and then I'm gonna come back and finish it and make it look a lot nicer and neater.